What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great Thursday night. Just got done eating some pizza, watching some Sixers, trying to make a comeback there, but all right, basketball's back, excited there, but we're here tonight to talk some birds, and we've got the trade deadline 5 days away. You guys have been asking about tons and tons of names, so I've been trying to keep you up. We talked about the safeties. Went through all of them. We got one of them. So we're going to talk about all that other stuff, but also going to give you all the information you need here to know about this trade deadline. So we know it's going up on the 31st. You need to know what the Eagles have in cap space and draft picks. So their ammo, what can they do here? Then we're going to take a look at their depth chart, see what the team actually looks like, where maybe we could use some help, talk about some of the players that could be possible trade candidates for the Eagles, and then we'll look at the position rankings. So how I have the strength of the positions ranked here, and then we'll go through the top 50. And don't worry, I didn't make 50 effing graphics for those things. I've got a top 50, but I've got 10 guys that I made graphics for because some of them you want to know about, and I want to explain some things, but I thought I'd give this, we're doing it live. So if there are players that, I don't have a graphic for or something, I can easily look that up for you, tell you the information, and break that down for you. So we're here to talk about all the possible trade candidates, and maybe, you're thinking of different positions than I am, the different players that are out there, and there are a lot of great trade candidates that are definitely in the NFL, but I stuck with the 50 that I found at a few positions here, and that might seem like a lot, but I probably could have kept going if I would have added a few more positions, but we're going to talk about it all here tonight. Appreciate you taking the time live here. And we've got ourselves started off with David, my man, with the super chat before I even get in here. Love it, my dude. Appreciate you taking the time. And look, man, appreciate you even stopping by while you're at work. That's so awesome. You guys are way too kind with this stuff. And look, I'm going to keep doing my best to pump out the best content I possibly can. You guys just keep showing up, whether you're at work like David and Liz like to, or in another country like my man, Drew. I appreciate each and every one of you here. And look, I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can, all the information I can give you. But any questions, anything on your mind, you need something explained, please feel free to let me know. But David, my man, thank you again. But got to put that down here. Want to show you, off the bat, you're going to ask me about Quez Watkins. Somebody is, but he is on IR right now, so you cannot trade him. But we do have a few guys that I think are potential trade candidates. You can see what their cap hit is, and then the cap that would be saved if they were traded. So looking at Derek Barnett, you would have still about 1.1 plus in dead money, but you still save a little bit. And maybe, you get something in return. Maybe you have to add him with just to clear up a little bit of space. Any of these guys, maybe you just need a little bit of that cap space. So maybe one of these guys is out, or you want to acquire more picks for guys, that are far down on the depth chart. Rashad Penny, you don't even use. Kentavious Street, I really like it. I love the depth we have, but maybe they want to give more reps to Marlon Tuipulotu, Moro Ojomo, because we're already 4 deep in front of him. So, I think there are definitely other routes they could go, especially, if a team is looking for, something in return and you're trying to get a really good player, then definitely some, higher powered players there could be trade candidates, but we'll see here. Now, let's talk about what the Eagles have in cap space. That is obviously very important. And after the trade for Kevin Byard, we talked about how he would cost around $2.5 million. He indeed cost $2.4 million. His cap hit. Broke that down for you last week. You saw before the trade happened, talked about the safety. So that's what we're going to do here tonight, but with a lot more. But I want to show you the updated stuff here. So keep in mind, they have a lot of other liabilities here, not just, the cap for all 53 players, but you got the dead money, IR, and your practice squad here. So things are getting a little slim in the cap space department. So, we talk about all the time how we can do. It's hilarious here. People say we don't have cap space, but now we're getting into territory where we don't really have much cap space. And, everybody wants to trade for an all-pro at every position. And look, I'd love this to be Madden too, but right now I love the roster the Eagles have, but there are definitely some spots you could look to improve. Only thing is the current cap space right now for the Philadelphia Eagles is $2,156,412. So, Yeah, not too much there. So when you talk about clearing up some space with those other guys, that million could definitely help you, put you around 3 million, maybe two of them that you trade or something, and you get a couple million opened up. Things could happen to get you more, but right now, not so much. But look, Howie's been able to sign a lot of people under 2 mil, so you could still maybe one more little trade in you, and we're definitely going to talk about that. And I'm going to break down some of these contracts. But you can see in the future, you know how Howie likes to trade for people, extend them, put those dummy years on. Well, we've got the money to do that. You can see the next few years what the salary cap space is. So we got the ammo there in cap space, not so much, but we do have some. Now, the draft picks, they moved around a little bit with that Bayard trade. You can see we've got 15 picks now rather than 17. And look, still got a good amount next year. You got a first, 2 seconds, a third, and then 4 fifths. One of those 4th or 5ths could have been a 4th, but it doesn't look like it's going to be now. And then that Minnesota or Tampa Bay one, like that Tennessee one, we literally gave them like their pick back, or it's going to be ours. It's so funny that how he continues to fleece people. If I would see a 215 number and I was a GM of another team, I just wouldn't answer. I'm going to be real with you. I wouldn't be his friend. I wouldn't be cordial with him. I would stay as far away from Howie Roseman as I possibly could. But hey, this is the NFL. They're going to keep answering, and we're going to keep fleecing them. So I'm all about it. But let's take a look at this team, and then you can tell me what you think the Eagles need to do to improve on this roster here. But not just a depth chart. I want to show you some other pieces too. So let me give you the practice squad as well. Julio Jones has been added. Then we've got Brandon Smith and Kendall Vildor recently added. Noah Ellis back. You can see the 7 on offense, 9 on defense. So you've got 16 players there as well. Keep those guys in mind if you're thinking about a certain position. Now we're going to look at the reserves here. These are, maybe like guys like Evans and Watkins, a position that could get stronger. Some of them not coming back, like Maddox, McPherson, Johnson, Bradley. But Juergens will be back at right guard, so you love that. Isaiah Rodgers suspended. That sucks. But when you're looking to the future, you definitely have somebody going to be competing for that nickel corner spot next year and a great returner. So very excited about him. But unfortunately, don't have him this year. Now let's take a look at this Eagles roster here. You can tell me where you think the weaknesses are. So for me, I love quarterback, like what we got going on there. Running back, we talked about Penny, could be expendable. We don't really use anybody. And maybe you add somebody that's a power back that we will use. A lot of question marks there. I know a lot of people feel a certain way. I like Kenneth Gainwell. He's good blocker on third downs. You can use him, but maybe there's an upgrade there. A wide receiver. Yeah, I like what we got going on there. Quez will be back, but without him, you don't really have a burner. And I'm not saying like, oh, man, we have to have Quez back. I'm just saying maybe you want to look there. I love Alameda, that guy that can play inside, outside, sure-handed, great route runner. Then you have Julio, the veteran who's brought in here. So you got a lot of talent there. Not sure that you need to add there, but hey, look, the Eagles could always look to make this offense more explosive. And you could say the same for the tight end. Nobody doing much beyond Dallas Goedert, and don't like that. Alberto, we traded for him, but hasn't done jack shit. So maybe you try to get rid of him, find out if somebody else wants to use him. But then the line, we talked about Juergens coming back. I like Opeta, Steen, Driscoll, and Johnson as the depth pieces. So I don't feel that you need to add there, but some people have definitely told me they would look there. But let me know how you guys feel about this roster. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, stacked at edge rusher, interior defensive line, linebacker, I actually feel pretty damn good there too. Then you look at corner. Slay and Bradbury, obviously two of the best. Love those guys. Then you've got Roby, who's banged up right now. We've been using Ricks. We've got Sidney Brown back. He can play a little nickel. We talked about that big nickel. Josiah Scott here. He can play some nickel, some safety. So you've got versatile pieces here in the secondary. You just added Kevin Byard with Reed Blankenship. So very excited about the safety room. Cornerback, let's just try to stay healthy. But we're going to talk about all that coming up here. And now the special teams unit, you can see, look, Covey, one of the better punt returners in the game. Scott, serviceable, but maybe you upgrade there, get somebody that is explosive, scares the other special teams. But, man, you heard I just posted earlier that we actually brought a kid in trying out for punter. So it doesn't look like they really like what Braden Mann's been doing. And obviously we talk about it. He has not done anything great. But the only thing we're happy about is the fact that it's not damn Aaron Sippos, but this Jake Girardi kid, we'll see if he's got something. But regardless, there are definitely areas you look. Now, to me, I'm not trading for a punter. I don't think there's any team with multiple punters that I could try to trade for. So you're going to have to find somebody off the streets if that's the case. But right now, I mean, we can make a punter show if you want. I didn't add any punters in here and didn't add that special teams unit just because of that fact. And that's something we could talk about if this kid gets brought into the practice squad, something like that. That would definitely put Braden Mann on notice. Now I'm going to check out these comments in a second, but let me first show you my position rankings. Then I definitely want to hear from you how you guys have these ranked. Now, obviously, number one, the strongest here, we've got quarterback. I mean, I know people feel a certain way about Mariota, but look, Mariota, McKee, great backups. Just hope you don't have to use them. Jalen Hurts, stay healthy. Interior D-line, look, I feel, holy shit, we are so deep there. It is stacked. Love those guys. Edge rusher, I feel the same way. Wide receiver, I explained myself. You could get better there. I'm not against it at all, but I think Julio seeing an uptick in snaps, obviously only here a few days before he played, but continuing to get him involved, Alameda, then Quez back. I think you really have an explosive offense, but you could look to add their safety. I feel really great about now. And when Justin Evans comes back in a couple weeks, hopefully, maybe his season's done, I'm not sure, but I would love to see him come back. Hopefully it's not too long. I don't think it is, but you've got Byard, Blankenship, and then Sidney Brown. We've talked about Brown as that third safety all offseason, what he could do, move him all over. Now you've got a solidified starting safety group. So, yeah, Sidney Brown, can't wait to see what he does. Offensive line, I feel great. Cam Jurgens coming back. Linebacker, I feel pretty good, man. Talked about it. Dean back here. You've got Morrow as depth, and I really think, he obviously proved he can be a starter. Now, at cornerback, if we stay healthy, I love these guys. We're very deep there, but obviously Maddox, McPherson out for the season. Roby banged up right now. We've had Bradbury out for a game, Slay out for a game. So some question marks there, and rightfully so. Now, running back, look, I love what we have, but Rashad Penny they don't like him. And we've talked about this a million times. And I think for me, I would get him involved. I would use him as a kick returner, but I'm not the Eagles coach. So it is what it is. Now, return specialist, I think that's an area. Look, you could add someone that could do kick returner, punt returner. And I know they love Covey, but somebody that could kick return. It's not Boston Scott. Look, I don't think they're getting rid of Boston Scott. I love Boston, but he's just not the greatest kick returner. But, hey, if you go watch the top 13 matchups, you'll see, hey, maybe this is the game where he has a big return, and then I don't have to worry about it. But then you saw the last position there was tight end. So, for me, nobody's stepping it up. Calcaterra stole beyond, and it's maybe not necessarily that they're not doing great, but we need to add something to help this red zone out. Whether that's a tight end, a running back, the play calling, getting healthy, things like that do matter. So we understand the context of it, but sometimes a new player or certain things could definitely help you along that way. So that's all the stuff you need to know. We're going to head into this top 50, and I'm going to show you, the positions that I have marked out here, but then I'm going to show you a few of the guys that stuck out. So don't worry, man. I don't have 50 of those graphic cards, although I wish I did, but just didn't have the time, and I do want to see that end of that Sixers game. But let's go, baby. Appreciate you tuning in, my dude. And look, I'm very pumped up about the team. I don't think that they need to trade, but if they want to improve the roster, I'm not against it. You saw we got $2.1 million in cap space, so not much, but I also showed you those trade candidates we have on this roster. Maybe open up some space here, but we shall see what the Eagles decide to do. But in a few days here, deadline's over, and we don't have to hear about trading for Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill every weekend. Boy, I cannot wait. Yes, go Birds. Appreciate you tuning in, little G. Let's go. And DB, he provides great depth. I'm not one of those people that's like, you got to get rid of them. If you can get something in return and clear up a little bit of space, you take on I think even a little bit more dead money than you would saving money. So it's not really about that. It would be clearing up that little bit of space you need for, a new player, whoever that may be, or, that's the only way I'm doing it. He provides good depth there. So Nolan Smith's going to take over, those reps, but I still think he provides good, depth, and he's good against the run. So I agree with you, Brandon, but he's definitely a candidate at a deep position. Yo, my man BMO in here. Let's go, baby. It's trade season. Howie season. Let's go. So I've got 50 names for you, but I want to hear all the damn names you guys got. Everybody on your mind. Troy Hill. No doubt. I thought it was said Tyreek at first. I was like, yeah, punch me in the face. Dude, let's go. Hey, God bless you as well. Appreciate you taking the time. And I am doing well, I think. I'm trying to at least, but it was that much. I've heard dudes saying some wild trades like Brian Birds. Yeah, don't think we need any edge rushers. I don't have edge rushers here tonight. You take care as well. And go effing Birds, baby. Let's go. Appreciate you taking the time here, Daishea, if I'm saying that right. But yes, he is. And look, I got a lot of hate last year for all the praise I gave him when I got to take those pictures with him and talk with him last year, predict that Super Bowl with him. I'm just planting seeds to be able to work with that man one day. And look, I will happily stand with him against anyone all day, against those Brendan Deegs, Thomas Petersons, all of them trashing him, fire Howie last year. I'm glad to see people getting on board because this team is building a dynasty and they better get their asses on board because it's Super Bowl season sooner or later. So when is Judge coming back? Jurgens, I believe you're trying to say, but he is eligible to come back next week. Let's hope he is back for that Cowboys game. I would love it, and it's truly sicko content, Daniel. I was losing my mind the past 2 days trying to put this together, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like, I finally had to bite the bullet today and be like, I cannot create all of these contract details. So I wanted to do this live, wanted to give you guys the opportunity. If there's somebody you want to know about that I'm not going to talk about with a graphic, I will happily give you that information and tell you if the Eagles could trade for them, if I think they will. So let me know. Keep it coming. Let's rock and roll. These top 50 are coming at you. Happy we getting Cam. Jurgens back is huge. Opeta has not been doing great there. And look, we could definitely, I just mentioned those at the beginning of the show, so we could definitely try to create some space if we want, but wouldn't do it for, aren't going to do that for no reason. Might trade Quez. No, Quez is on IR. If anybody missed me mentioning that earlier, I said, I know somebody's going to ask, but he's on IR. So I'm assuming you missed it, but yes, he cannot be traded. It's on IR. And to quarterbacks, the Surtain makes sense for us. I'm going to get into all of those positions here in a second here, my man. Just saying hello. Hey, Liz is in here. We've got Liz. We've got David sneaking in at work. Let's go. Let's go, Birds. You know it. Appreciate you tuning in. I don't know if you're at work, but he was sneaking, so I love it. I love you all. Appreciate you taking the time. Let's take a look at some of these names now. And I'm going to start it off with the positions that I feel we actually need, right? You just saw my positional strength ranking. So this is a weird one, but because of the fact that I talked about return specialists and I talked about trying to take off the top, adding firepower. Hey, give me more, not just Julio. All right, let's add to this receiver room. And look, there are some very versatile pieces here. I like Agnew, McKenzie. There are guys that can return the ball. You've got a guy like Rashad Bateman. And look, punt returners, like guys like Dortch and Carter can actually kick return as well. So Duvernay, Goodwin. You've got speedsters, returners. I also threw in Jerry Jeudy because I want to show you and talk about certain names. So Jerry Jeudy, yeah, you could trade for him, but not sure the Eagles want to do that and then give him a new contract. Look, you could definitely add him, and I would be excited. He's, a very good player, but I don't know that I want to give up, a third, fourth round pick for someone like Jeudy because he was a first round pick. He's still young, got high upside, and he doesn't cost much. So you're going to have to give up some draft capital there. But to me, I think there are some other options you could definitely go with. And we're going to talk about a few of them here. Khalil Shakir, I think he's a stud. And the Bills got a bunch of good receivers. That's why I threw him on there, but I don't know that they would get rid of him. And McKenzie getting pushed down by Josh Downs, and Downs can return the ball too. So maybe they'd be willing. So not all these guys are going to be tradable like Marvin Mims. But I'm thinking if Denver's truly stupid, and, well, we know they are, they want to trade Sutton, Jeudy. Well, why not give us your draft pick this year that I think is going to be a stud? You don't want to use him. Let us use him. He's a return man. And, dude, he would blow the top off. So I would love to have him. But I'm only going to mention some names and talk about some guys that I think are possible and why. So let's talk about it and start her off with Terrace Marshall here. Cap at $1.56 million. And if they were to trade him, it's the same as the money is cutting him. So, and I have this cut stuff. You don't really have to pay attention to that, but I'll explain things. Anyways, 1.1 is what we would pay. They would only take on $300K in dead money there. And look, you would maybe try to extend him. He's got 2 years left. You could just let him play out that rookie contract. But, dude, it would only be a $1.1 million cap hit. You would get a kid, obviously got a lot of potential, but I just don't know that, what they'd be willing, maybe a fourth, fifth rounder for this kid. I think he is special, and he could take the top off for you. But it's the Panthers, man, and they're struggling right now. They haven't won a game. Maybe they'd be willing, just to get some draft capital. He's been, down the line. But again, the guys in front of him are veterans, so maybe they're just letting him develop. But, man, if you could talk to Frank Reich, figure some things out, I wouldn't be against it. Now, the Saints, we know, are not very intelligent. Loomis over there, if he picks up the phone, obviously right there is his first mistake. But you got a guy in Rasheed Shaheed, 25 years old, doesn't cost anything if they trade him. They just wipe their hands free, $870K to us. We sign him to a new deal. I would like that. But this kid, I don't know why they would do it because they're so talented. But you see this kind of stuff with teams that are just having a fire sale and just aren't that good. And look, they could maybe be lying to themselves or just not want to deal with the Eagles. So I doubt it happens. But this would be an area I would love for the Eagles to look, add to that return room. And he's somebody you got to be scared shitless of back there. And again, I like Covey as punt returner, but this is quite the upgrade over Boston Scott or Covey, to be honest with you, punt returner. And I would like him as a receiver as well that could take the top off. He could do a lot of things to help us, so wouldn't be against it. And if you're looking about, trying to save someone's career, give them a new place to play, but dude, to change the scenery can help people. This kid, 23 years old and falling down the depth chart, but they've got a lot of talented dudes. You saw Greg Dortch was on that list too, so maybe you throw him in there. But, man, if you could pry him away, 2 years left on that rookie contract, $1.8 million. And, look, not a very intelligent organization there, so that's what you're hoping on here. And Rondell Moore could help you in the return game as well. But you see only a $1.2 million cap hit. And, again, you can try to restructure that, clear up a little bit of space or extend him. Do a lot of things, but I would let him play out that rookie contract. But to me, you don't have to add to receiver, but I know a lot of people were very excited about the thought process there and, talking about DeAndre Hopkins and Judy and things like that. I picked out some names that I think are way cheaper and way more realistic and brighter for the future, right? You have those guys around. So, yeah, I'm not against a Judy. He's still very young, but if he starts balling out, he's going to cost a lot of money. So you got to look at things like that. And I think that, to me, that this team is stacked here already. So we don't have to make any of these trades, but that's why we're talking about certain positions that we are and the certain guys that we are. And you'll see as it continues to go. My man Doyle in here. Let's go. Appreciate you, my dude. Been a pleasure getting to know you the past couple months here, man. It's bird season, man. And I'm excited because I'm ready for this trade deadline to come. I'm ready for people to get on board with the Eagles. You guys heard me laughing about that guy the other day. He's like, you're not a true fan unless you want to trade all the players, get Derrick Henry and Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, yeah, if this were Madden, like, slap me in the face, man, please. Zaire, yo. I know you've been hearing them Henry trades. Yo, and look, there definitely could be some possibilities as to certain positions, but Derrick Henry, I think we all know, a little drifty, but going to talk about that here shortly. Doubt Henry will trade Mims, but dude, yeah, exactly. And that's why I said it. Look, I highly doubt it, but I'm going to throw names in there. If everybody else gets to make these ridiculous trade shows, so do I. But I get to explain it. And, people are going to make up to you, this guy's getting traded or this guy has to get traded here or we suck. And it's just hilarious each year that I do this and I get to call who we actually trade for and stuff. But look, they're going to say all the top names. People are used to playing Madden. They think that's how this works. I get it, but that's what this show's for. And I'm going to explain some of those guys here in a second. Backup tackles, a sneaky need. I actually like Fred Johnson a lot. I like Tyler Steen here. Jack Driscoll struggled mightily, but he provides some good depth interior-wise and does provide you depth outside. But I would focus, maybe in later rounds next year, you want to get some younger guys. We want to do that every year, but I like the depth we have here. But hey, we could definitely do that. Wouldn't be against it, man. But with Juergens coming back, I think that's going to free other things up. And I think Steen and Johnson should have gotten that chance. But Driscoll was first man up, so it is what it is. Now, this next position, we got a safety, but we talked about it. We have a lot of injuries at defensive back. So what about, at cornerback, you've got some guys that are versatile. They can play that nickel. They can play that safety. So Kaiir Elam, he's somebody that, the Bills apparently don't want to play after being a first-round pick. Hey, look, talented kid, Adoree Jackson. Giants suck. Maybe they want to get rid of him. Dante Jackson, Mike Jackson. We got the Jackson 3 here. Now, you've got the Carolina dude, a veteran who obviously Carolina, we talked about it, not doing great. Seattle, look, they're doing good, but they have a pretty damn good secondary, and Mike Jackson's been pushed down. So maybe decide with his time in Seattle, maybe he can get Mike Jackson here. I would not be against it. Bobby McCain, a versatile guy that can play safety and nickel corner. Same for Jalen Mills, you see pictured there. Kenny Moore, somebody that's been mentioned a lot. That is the top corner for the Colts. If they really just want to give up on the season, I guess they could, but that's not somebody I think the Eagles would go for. Adrian Phillips, of course, Patrick Surtain, because you guys want to talk about him, I'm going to throw him on here, and Jaylen Thompson there. So see those names. Now, Jaylen Thompson, he's somebody we talked about during the safety show, and I talked about the fact that he can play nickel corner as well. A little banged up right now for Arizona, but he's a guy that has a $5.2 million cap hit. Now, if you trade him, they have to take on $4 million in dead money, and you would only pay $1.2 million there. So you could restructure it, make it around $1.1 million. He wouldn't cost you really anything. So don't always let those cap hits get you. That's why I make these shows, to explain it. But you can see here, he's 25 years old, 4 years remaining, and I like his skill set, a versatile piece. And if you're going to hope that you stay healthy, and if you're not, maybe you have another piece there. Okay. Now, maybe you want to look to the future and you're thinking, let's go grab another guy that can grow with Isaiah Rodgers and Job and Ricks and all these guys, Goodrich, Garner, Ringo, all these dudes we have that are very young, while we still have Slay and Bradbury here to help them, teach them, help develop them. But looking at Kaiir Elam, this kid, if they don't want to use him, I will happily use him. 22 years old, 3 years left on that rookie contract. They can't cut him, obviously, all dead money. And then if you trade him, they take on 1.7. We would only pay 1.3 million. So that 3.1 cap hit means shit. But you would pay 1.3 and you would be very happy. So if you could give up, maybe a third round pick for a guy like Elam, and I don't think you'd have to give up higher than a fourth just because of the fact that they don't really use him. And look, I think he'd be great, but I don't know that they would trade him. Now, the guy you guys all want to talk about here at corner, Patrick Surtain II. And I'm so old, I grew up watching his dad on the Dolphins, so that's pretty wild. But I know this is the guy everybody wants to talk about, and you'll hear people, I got to have him. Some people, you can't. Well, let me show you. Yeah, you can. So, 23 years old, 2 years remaining, and, well, we talked about how dumb the Denver Broncos are. So, maybe, after that wild trade for Russell Wilson, maybe they'd be willing to give up another stud here, give up, all that capital, all the future. For whatever reason, they thought Russ was going to be great, so that's hilarious. Then they get Sean Payton, hilarious. Trade for him. Now, trade us, Patrick Surtain. I'd be all for it, ladies and gentlemen. So let me explain this to you. If they trade him, they would take on $3.1 million in dead money, and the Eagles would pay $2.5 million in the cap space. So, dude, let's be real here. We had 2.1, right? So you just throw in a player, you cut somebody, you do whatever the hell you got to do, but you find a way to make that space. You could extend him, and I would extend him even though there's 2 years left. I would clear up that other 1.3 mil, and then you're only paying 1.2 million for him this year. You give him those dummy years, and then it really actually just makes it work without having to give up players. But I mean, if they want one of those players I mentioned, they're more than welcome. But just saying, it's possible, ladies and gentlemen, to go out and get Patrick Surtain. And if you want someone to be the future here, to learn under Slay and Bradbury, and you're hopeful, that they don't get hurt, but that it can happen, then you add a guy like him. But you got to realize it's not just about the money. I showed you the draft picks that we have. Now, if you're just like, F it, we were going to draft a corner, next year, which I think they should be looking to the future there, although I love the young guys we have. So maybe you're just like, F it, we were already going to try next year. Here's our second from next year, a third, and then this first from the next year, whatever the hell they got to do. But it's going to cost you a price tag there for Patrick Surtain, because You don't have to pay that much money for him. They know that, and they know he's a stud, and they're going to have a very high asking price. So I would assume 1 first-round pick at least in there, maybe a future first-rounder. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe it's like 2 seconds, 5 thirds, 4, whatever you got to do. But hey, dude, if they're willing to trade him and you are looking to the future, you want to build around Jalen Hurts for a long time, I'm all about it, man. So to me, you definitely could, but I don't know that they will. So we'll find out here, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that we're still, in my opinion, pretty good at those positions we just looked at. Wide receiver, cornerback. I like what we have here. So that's just my opinion. You guys can let me know how you feel about these positions. We coming to get Mamba Sauce with Wingbird. Yo, let's go, baby. We're all about whooping some ass. We're going to do that this week. And let's go, G-Fish. Appreciate you tuning in, my man. Do we need to get people on board? I think it's better with us real ones, not the casuals. There, yo. And, well, Tim, that's why I just don't care because, but the people that are here, it'd be great if, you like some things, share some things, comment on some things when they're over. That definitely helps. But as I always say, let those people continue being lost. If they don't want to learn how things work, that's fine, man. I don't care. Like, people get mad at me all the time. And it's like, look, dude, if you know anyone else out here that gets all this stuff right and explains it in detail, let me know. But that person's not out there. So it is what it is. No doubt. You heard me say that a few weeks ago, B-Mo. No doubt, my man. Crack yourself up with that Jackson 3. Oh, I crack myself up all the time. I'm a high plains drifter, my friend. Might be the healthiest. Hey, man. Look, we talked about being patient, watching everybody lose their minds, how hilarious it was. That's hilarious because now we're healthy and now they're all on board. Well, hey, look, don't need to find a way. It's right there for you, dude. It is simple. You could do it. It's just a matter of, is that what they want to do? And I wouldn't be against it. I know you got great corners right now, but anything could happen. He would clearly be able to start with those guys. Move them around however the hell you want. But, I wouldn't be against it. Now, some other positions here, and if you want to know any contract details for some of them, I brought a couple with here. But you see some power runners here. You see guys that can help you in the return game. Cordo Patterson, Dearness Johnson, Isaiah Spiller's there. Look, there's some disgruntled guys. A guy like Jonathan Williams, maybe New Orleans wants to get rid of him. You got a ground and pounder. Then you've got guys like Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. And a lot of people, losing their minds. Got to trade for Taylor. Jacobs, this, that, the other thing. Look, in my opinion, they just paid Taylor because they want him, and that's just my opinion, but I know people want to talk about it. If you want to hear about more, that's fine. Josh Jacobs, another one. Look, he's going to want to be paid after that, little money they gave him there this year. Don't think that's the Eagles, route. So I understand people get excited, and they want to talk about the big names. It gets mad. And I had a guy this week say only real Eagles fans want to trade away DeAndre Swift and get Derrick Henry. And I'm like, dude, I wish people would stop smoking crack. I really do. But Derrick Henry, as fun as he is to watch, let's talk about it. So $16.3 million cap hit. Okay, that's a lot. And he's 29 years old. Now, he's got 3 years remaining, but he's got a couple dummy years in there. Now, you can see the money's same for cutting and trading. Now, if they trade him, they take on $5.3 million in dead money. Now, the other team has to take on $11 million. So what you would do is restructure him. Then you would only have around $4.5 million, cap hit. You could try to throw some dummy years, extend things, do whatever, to get it around the $3.2 million cap hit. But again, remember, the Eagles have $2.1 million. So you would have to trade a player, and you would have to include, obviously, some more draft capital for a player like Derrick Henry. Now, I'm not against the Eagles trading for someone like Derrick Henry. If they want to do that, add him with Swift, I'd crap my pants. You remember when they had Ajayi and Blunt. But this is a little different due to the fact that he's 29 years old, and the Eagles just don't like to invest money there. Now, if you want to spend up all your cap space, and you think this is that final move, getting a monster like Derrick Henry, taking away from DeAndre Swift, then okay. But to me, I just feel like better play calling in the red zone, maybe some tight end help. I think that would go a much further way, and using Swift more and just figuring out the offense in the red zone. I don't think that you necessarily have to trade for an all-pro at every position to win the Super Bowl. So to me, I love our running backs, and I think they're pretty stacked right now. Now, if you could move someone like Rasheed Penny for Derrick Henry in that trade, clearly that would open up the money you need. So, again, you could get a guy like Derrick Henry. You would have change left. You could make it work, though, if you wanted to. And I think, if the Eagles want to do something like that, I'm not going to lose my mind, but I would be happy, okay? I'd be happy with a lot of all-pros being on this team, but I just don't know that is Howie Roseman's route. And Cordo Patterson, a name we talked about this offseason, a name that's been mentioned. We know they got Bijan, they have Algier there, so a lot of running backs there, but he's 32 years old, $5.5 million cap hit. Now, he would only have $1.2 million dead money. You would have to pay $4.2 mil, and you could restructure him, get him to around $2.2 mil. And if you trade someone, then you're still, you still have about $1 million in cap space. So this one would be a little bit cheaper for a guy that actually helps you in the return game. And he's kind of a gadget guy that, he can pound the rock as well. So, and less wear and tear than Derrick Henry has had. So maybe you're looking at Cordo Patterson. And I would not be against this because I like Cordo Patterson as well. I'm not against making the Eagles better. It's just, how are you making them better? What are you giving up? So clearly Cordo Patterson is not going to cost you as much draft capital as someone like Derrick Henry. So Henry, maybe you're giving up, a third rounder and a fourth the next year or whatever the hell. Cordo Patterson, maybe you're giving up, a sixth rounder, fifth rounder, something like that, because you got to move money around, things like that. So that's just my opinion as to where you could look. And, you saw some of the other names that were up there, A.J. Dillon, Deontay Foreman. So maybe they had someone like that very cheap that, doesn't cost you really anything. My man David back again, joining us from Merck. I was giving you shout outs there, and he's hitting us with another super chat. My dude, cannot thank you enough for that. Appreciate you trying to get through all this damn content as quickly as I can. But we got one more position to go through here. We're going to take a look at them. But if you have any questions on any names out there, you want to hear numbers, whatever, please feel free. You're watching this later, let me know. But, and I really appreciate that, man, and doing my best out here, CJ, to, and look, there's other great content creators out there that do a lot of great stuff, arguing with, other fans and other teams' fans and doing that kind of stuff. I figured there's nobody out here in Eagles land talking football, baby, breaking all the cap down, doing this stuff. So this is what I've been doing. It's been a great time. You've seen how many people I've tried to help build their brands, start this. We're changing the game. We're taking over where the media wants to just be whiny and negative all the time. It's time to educate. Let them keep hating. I'll keep educating. And I appreciate you tuning in, man. I'm glad you enjoy this stuff. I got to have my own niche, right? Niche, whatever, just to, be able to come out here and give you guys information that you enjoy. It means the world, man. So I'm glad you like it. And thank you for the kind words. Hey, and thank you, man. And look, and I know a lot of people, there's just a lot of nonsense out there. So look, I know you're not going to find much of this stuff elsewhere, and I know this isn't for everyone, trust me. But to me, I think that this is very valuable information. Knowing all of the injury stuff, knowing how this team plays, I think all that stuff is important to why, each week while everyone's losing their mind, this team sucks, I knew the season was over, last week when they were saying that. And it's like, dude, if you just understand how things work, like the new coordinators that, the injuries kind of affect things. Context matters, man. That's why I try to make this show just full of so much context that you just know about everything. And that's what I try to do here, man. Appreciate you, and I'm glad you enjoy it. Still available to be signed? Yes, but this is not a free agent show, my man. This is trade, so you cannot trade for free agents. But Swift, the young Philly dog, hope Howie gets a new contract. Yeah, I'm loving Swift. I'm saying give him the ball more, please, and thank you. Look, I think it's pretty clear to me, he's having a great year. I talked about it in the top 13 matchups. I will post that in the comments down below. Go check that show out from earlier. Run the damn ball. Give DeAndre Swift that rock. Let's effing go. And maybe you want to give, some more to Rasheed Penny. Activate him. But they just don't like him. I don't know, man. Maybe you want to get one of those guys you just talked about. Top 50 indeed, my man. Cole C. Let's go. Yo, dude. And happy to have you here. And I know every time you step in here, I know that I love hearing from you, my man. And kind words, always appreciative. You guys, you're way too kind. So Hope you're all having a great day. We've got one last position to go through here. My man, BDB, let's go. Barkley, you talking about Saquon? I'll look that up for you in a second here, but let's go through. Last position here, tight ends. This is the position I think we could look to improve the most. And there are definitely some guys out there, and there could be a bigger name, but I tried not to go too crazy here because we're not looking for a starter. We have Dallas Goedert, man. But tight end 2 is important. Stoll and Calcaterra just haven't been doing anything. And you've got some blockers here. You've got some red zone monsters. Maybe a guy like Jimmy Graham cost you jack shit. Give him your 6th rounder. They give us Jimmy Graham and a 7th rounder. Screw it. Let's go. I think you could definitely add some pieces here. And maybe you don't want to go the veteran route. Maybe you're thinking, okay, we need a young guy to pair with, Dallas Goedert here. And I've talked about this. I like Calcaterra, Stoll, Alberto, but if they're not going to do anything, I don't care. So, yeah, they've got the talent, but Alberto has been inactive every game, and the guys that are active aren't doing much. So maybe you trade Alberto, like we talked about earlier, save you a little bit of money, and you acquire one of these guys. So probably cheaper, Trey McKitty here, only a $1.3 million cap hit, 2 years left on his contract, a versatile piece here. Somebody that can work a little on his blocking, but he can do it all. Jack of all trades that I would like in this offense. And you would only be paying a little bit over $1 million in cap space there. So for me, I would definitely add to this tight end room, and I would not be against Trey McKitty. And then my final of the 10 graphics I've got for you here, Tommy effing Tremble. And this kid, I am a fan. And if you remember pre-draft, we talked about this kid a few years ago. And, well, a couple. 23 years old, still on that rookie contract, $1.3 million cap hit. And if you trade for him, you're only paying $1.1 million. And I think him in this offense, you can use him as that H-back. You can line him up all over the place, give him some carries even, some short yardage things you can do with him. Can catch the ball. I really like Tommy Tremble. And I think that this would be the area I would go to. I know it's not the sexy name. I know it's not Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes. I know a lot of you guys throwing those names, Derrick Henry at me. I'm just letting you know a more realistic approach because we're running out of cap space and you don't want to have none because people do get hurt. Things happen. You need to be able to make moves. So somebody asked me about Saquon Barkley. So I'm going to look that up for you right now. And then I'm going to get heading out. So if you have any further questions, anything like that on your mind, please feel free to get it in now. But if you got anything from this, do me a favor, hit that like button. Appreciate you all tuning in. But looking at Saquon Barkley here, he's got a $10 million cap hit. It's $10,091,000. If you trade him, they only take on $2 million in dead money. $8 million, is what you would have to pay. So you trade for him. You can't restructure him because he's on that 1-year deal. But you could give him an extension, and he would be... You'd save $5 million with an extension. So you'd have them around $3 million. So again, with those guys in that like 2, 3, if you can get that number there, which I did with Derrick Henry, did it with all those other guys. I showed you how. If you need me to explain it again, happy to do that for you. So these are all possible. It's just a matter of, do we want to give up these things for a certain position? Blah, 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 blah. All the things I just talked about. But Saquon Barkley, you could do it. You have to throw in a player, though, or do something to clear up some space. And I could have brought together that other stuff where you cut them and that, but we're doing a trade show, so I don't want to get too carried away. That was a lot of information. We're on 45 minutes here. I knew it was going to be forever, but I want to catch you into this game. I want to get some other things done today, but I wanted to do this one live with you guys because you guys are too awesome to not be able to do this, give you guys the opportunity to ask those questions and throw in whatever you would like. And look, Kyle Pitts, I would love to have. I don't know if that new regime is willing to give up on him already, but I'd be for it. Yeah, go ahead. You could easily do that. He's still on his rookie contract. So that's possible too. It's just a matter of what you would have to give up. And I would not be against that at all. You guys could name another 50 names for me. Trust me, I could have done this at a million other positions, but those are the ones I'm keyed in on. All the other positions I feel pretty good about. If not, maybe you could sign someone off the streets. A lot of guys still available. So let me hear your thoughts down below, but that is all I got for you all this evening. I appreciate you all taking the time, though, hitting that like button. Seriously, everything you're doing to support the channel here, cannot thank you enough. If you're watching this later, I would love to hear from you. You got any questions? You want me to look somebody up for you, explain some things, whatever it may be, I'm always here for you. And look, it doesn't have to be about birds. You guys need a friend, anything, you can always reach out. But I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. Go Sixers. Please get a win here. I need some winning, man. I don't even want to talk about it. Go Birds. That's all I can say. But I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. And until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith. And this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there. And as always, say it with me. Go Birds!